our session, and many thanks to the organizing committee for providing such a wonderful chance for us to exchange ideas. I'm Pana from Wuxi Oriental School in China. Today, I'll share some findings about the relationship between English listening strategies and English proficiency of Chinese learners with my colleague, Ms. Xiaofei, and our collaborator, Ms. Pana from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Here is an overview of the whole presentation, background, literature review, methodology, findings, and conclusion. When talking about learning strategy, both general approaches and specific actions or techniques used to learn an L2 could be regarded as a definition of learning strategy. It has some characteristics, for example, problem-oriented, deliberate, involving both linguistic and non-linguistic behaviors. And we find strategy use varies considerably across task types and individuals. Instructions on listening learning strategies assist in improving listening performance of second language learners. However, there's limited study on Chinese learners. So to address this issue, understanding how Chinese learners of English use listening strategy are inevitable. So we will present a panel study that aims at exploring how Chinese learners at different levels of English proficiency use English listening strategies. Our study followed the taxonomy developed by Sherlock and her associates. The learning strategies include metacognitive strategies. For instance, monitoring, evaluating, planning, or organizing learning process, and cognitive strategies, such as manipulation or transformation of the learning materials or input, and socio-affective strategies, such as interpersonal behaviors or taking control of the emotional conditions. When it comes to English listening strategy, Hu and his associates developed a listening strategy questionnaire among Singaporeans. We know Singaporeans are native in Chinese and English. Here is the overview of the construct of listening strategy. I look for opportunities to listen in English is an example of self-initiation in metacognitive strategies. When I listen, I repeat the words or phrases I can understand is an example of perceptual processing in cognitive strategies. And I tell myself not to worry when I listen in English is example of socio-affective strategies. Some research found a linear relationship between strategy use and language proficiency, where advanced students using more learning strategies than intermediate students or elementary students. However, a linear pattern was reviewed by some research. We find that intermediate students using more learning strategies than advanced students and elementary students. So, there's limited study on specific skills. So, our research will address this gap. Strategy used in English listening tasks among Chinese learners with different proficiency levels. And here are two research questions. First, is there a relationship between English listening strategy use and English proficiency of Chinese learners? And second, how English listening strategies relates to English proficiency levels of Chinese learners. And next, I will invite my colleague, Ms. Xiaofei, to finish the following part of the presentation.
Hello everyone, my name is Faye and I will resume the presentation. So first let's look at the methodology that we used in this research. We picked 56 students in Wuxi Oriental School. So they were grouped according to their listening scores in TOEFL test. as in the test of English as a foreign language. I assume most of you know. And so the test results showed that differences showed between advanced learners and intermediate learners, and also between intermediate learners and elementary learners. So for instrument, we adapted the questionnaire, English listening strategy questionnaire designed by Hu and the professor's associates. Several one-way ANOVA tests were administered to examine whether English proficiency levels influence the listening strategy use, including metacognitive strategy use, cognitive strategy use, and socio-affective strategy use. So what have we found? So our results showed that there was a statistical difference between the level of English proficiency and the use of English listening strategies. Post-hoc test found the difference existed between intermediate level learners and elementary learners. Next, I will break down the findings into 3 aspects and talk about them respectively. So for metacognitive strategy use, the results showed that, as you can see from the presentation here, there are similar patterns among using different metacognitive strategy uses at a statistical significant level. But according to the standard deviation, we can see that even among the same proficiency level, so the use of metacognitive strategy varied individually. So for example, Chinese students, most Chinese advanced learners are shy, if not shyer than Japanese English learners. So they might be adept at making plans and follow through with the plan. Well, that's some of the advanced learners. There are also an increasing number of more involved advanced learners. They hate extra work. They don't even maybe like homework, but they bombard you with questions in class. Like they do they check their learning and they do their self-evaluation in class. So that's that. There are like different kinds of metacognitive strategies among the same proficiency level students. So for cognitive strategies, we can see there is a similar pattern between the English proficiency level and the strategy use. But the statistics are not very convincing. They are not significant. So that's to say, for students of different proficiency levels, they might use cognitive strategy similarly. Like English proficiency does not influence the way they use this strategy. So for instance, we're talking about TOEFL listening here. Like when we process a piece of English listening passage, like regardless of our English proficiency level, we do a mind check. We imagine what the passage is going to be, and when we come across unfamiliar words during the listening process, we venture guesses. We try to guess what the word means. So that kind of strategy applies across all proficiency levels. And last, let's look at the socio-affective strategy use. Results show that there was a statistical significance in the use of socio-affective strategy use and the English proficiency level. So also the data show that the difference between intermediate learners and elementary learners are statistically significant. So that means are an intermediate level student, you're more likely to ask your teacher for help if you run into a dilemma in tackling TOEFL listening. And when students have learning anxieties, the more intermediate level students are more likely to come to terms with themselves emotionally. So, to conclude, our research reviews a curvilinear relationship between English proficiency level and the use of English listening strategies. And the data showed that a difference existed between intermediate learners and elementary learners, especially in metacognitive strategies and socio-affective strategies. For the end of pedagogical applications, it is advisable for teachers to try to improve the skills of metacognitive strategies and socio-affective use for L2 learners at a lower proficiency level. That's about all of our research. We're right now looking forward to expand our size sample, and maybe we might extend our research and try to find out how high proficiency level students, how they perceive their English listening strategies when they tackle TOEFL listening. So thank you.
Thank you very much.